Anyhow, this is a short post. Um, I just recently finished watching a film, um, and I recognized the scene. And in this scene, there was a structure, a building, a tower, okay, that was detonated, okay, in the film. And in this film, this tower was detonated from the basement, okay, from the basement floor. And it got me thinking the way that the Twin Towers and Building 7 collapsed, you know, was somewhat synonymous with how these structures collapsed. This structure collapsed in the film, where instead of the detonator being placed in the superior portion of the tower, that the detonator or the explosives were detonated, okay, from the basement, and this caused the building to collapse in on itself and fall in on itself, predominantly in place. So that was one of the strange things with, you know, 9/11, because the buildings or the structures seem to collapse within their one place. And it would almost seem like a professional job, okay, that was caused to look like an accident. And remember what I told you, individuals that are in wet work and things like that, although sometimes things do happen, but predominantly the marker of a professional, okay, regarding wet work, oftentimes will, unless they are conveying a message, will make it appear as um, the situations that took place were an accident. Okay, if someone is assassinated, they cause it to look, as an accident. All right, it's more covert. All right, so what I'm saying is that it does point to the fact that 9/11, the way the building detonated, appeared to be someone who knew a lot about explosives and was a professional job, because to detonate from the basement floor would be more unorthodox than detonating buildings in more common ways that you would see. You understand what I'm saying? Because if you detonate from the basement, the building seems to collapse in place. Um, and so I believe that the Twin Towers was professionally detonated from the basement floor. Now, I know there's a mystery with the airplane and what have you, that, um, hit the building in the upper portion of the structure. Uh, however, um, would heat travel even in such a vertical building, you know, in such a way from an upper floor that would cause a skyscraper type building to collapse in the same way that a tower would collapse if it was detonated from the basement? No, you know what I'm saying? And this isn't a theory, this is just me speculating, but pertaining to like how heat rises and so on and so forth, it would seem more uniform, the trajectory of the heat and the fire, if it was detonated from the basement, because then I could see heat traveling or fire traveling more in a vertical line. Now the situation with the airplane, maybe it was timed in which, I don't know, the airplane, I mean, it would appear to be very sophisticated. All right, definitely beyond my knowledge. And people will call this conspiracy theory, but let me tell you something. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. All right. I talk about things that I see and I hear. And theories are things that are tested, over and over again, that will render the same result. All right. So when we loosely use this term theory, but in truth, um, you know, there's a lot of science. Okay, if you actually understand what a theory is, there's a lot of science involved before even a theory is released. So I want to be very clear and just say that this is just me speculating, based upon how the building collapsed and what have you. And maybe the plane did hit it and so on and so forth. But the way the structure collapsed in on itself like that, such a tall structure is very interesting. You're talking about a proficiency in minimizing collateral damage, pertaining to a structure being that large. I mean, how else would you get a structure that large to collapse? Let's just say, like, if all of a sudden, like, you know, whatever that building, for whatever, is out of commission or closes down or shuts down or whatever. There's no, I mean, the amount of space that it would take for that building to collapse, you understand what I'm saying? For them to put something else new there would be phenomenal. People wouldn't be able to get to work, so on and so forth. And I know this happened with the collapse of the towers, respectfully, but I'm just saying, if it was not so-called professionally done, then it would have been much more severe. It would have been much more spread out, so on and so forth. So it is interesting because this is a situation that would appear that it took a lot of planning and special minds to be able to detonate a structure of that size. Now, I have my reasons why I'm bent on believing what I seen happen, or what I believe happened, in comparison to believing that it was an airplane, okay, that took down these entire structures. I just don't quite see it. So I'm thinking that maybe an airplane was involved, but predominantly, that the structure collapsed, from its foundation, that it was detonated from its foundation. That's what I think, based on watching, this film I watched. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't a conspiracy theory film. It didn't have nothing to do with the Twin Towers. It was just a war movie. Okay. And, it is asked in the film, why the building was, detonated from the basement, which lets or indicates that generally this, generally buildings are not detonated this way. You know what I'm saying? So it points to facts of what happened with Twin Towers, even though this film had nothing to do with the Twin Towers or any type of conspiracy theory, so on and so forth. But, hey, it's just my take on it, just my speculation. I'm just spread that out to you. You could think about it if you want, or if not, I understand. But I just thought I'd share that with y'all. Peace and blessings be with you all. I'm out.